Hello, everyone. Hope you are well on this Wednesday evening. I have several things to cover. We have Russian ships on the coast of the United States. I'll talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I know that's being covered a lot. And I'll give you my thoughts on that. I have some thoughts on that, okay? And how much of a threat that really is, all right? Also, it's being quoted, we are heading for another 9/11, September 11th. That definitely concerns me, all right? Big time. I'm going to go into that. Also have a very good passage I will share with you that will resonate with you, definitely. Okay. Stay tuned for that. First, though, I saw this. This was emailed to me earlier, and I have to agree with it. It says it's not a coincidence that Biden administration is working to remove all F-15 and F-16 fighter jets from the state National Guard control of state governors. At the same time, he's reminding Americans that we will need an F-15 to stop him. Yeah, I don't think that's a coincidence. No, not at all. A dangerous road we are treading down, y'all. And I pray it changes in about 5, 6 months. I pray, I hope, but I'm not holding my breath on that. And if it doesn't change, we keep treading down this dangerous road even further, and it doesn't look good. I think we're going to see some stuff. Okay, I'll just put it that way. Okay, a word about the Russian ships. I know this is being covered like crazy, and I mentioned it several videos ago that they were on their way. And yeah, it's not the first time that Russian ships have sailed into Havana, Cuba. And however, this seems like a pretty large flotilla. I mean, this is quite a little fleet they've got here. They've got, from what I've read, they've got at least 2 nuclear submarines running around out there. They're hard to find, y'all. One nuclear submarine could do massive, massive damage. Okay. So that it's a concern. However, I believe what's happening, just my opinion, I believe what's happening is the president of Russia is trying to send 2 messages. Number one, you don't control and lord over the seas and all the oceans anymore, United States, because since World War II, you kind of had free reign. You ruled every sea, every ocean with impunity, and that's correct. I mean, pretty much. I mean, virtually all of the oceans have been controlled by the United States Navy. That in tandem with the UK Navy, the United Kingdom. Nobody dare challenge the United States Navy for years. That has changed. Things change. Empires rise and decline, and I think that's what Putin is saying is I'm going to sail some ships over right off your grill, right off your doorstep. You can't stop me. All right. Number two, he's been warning NATO and the United States that if you authorize the use of your weapons and allow your weapons to be fired by Ukraine into my territory, into Russian territory, I reserve the right as the Russian president to share some of my weaponry with one of your adversaries, and they may just use it on you. So they're currently in Cuba. They're going to make other stops in South America, Venezuela, who knows where else. So I did see where there was quite a standoff, some chasing going around last night, the last 12 hours, especially with the United States Navy, our Coast Guard, versus the Russian Navy, the ships that are out there and the submarines. So it's something to keep on our radar, but don't panic about it, all right? And keep in mind, 90% of Americans have no clue this is even going on. They don't even know, y'all. Okay, so let's just be watchful. All right, heading into the next part. it's been quoted as we are heading for another September 11th, a 9/11. I believe it. I tend to agree with that. Uh, Terrorism fears are mounting after the arrests of 8 border crossers that were linked with ISIS terrorist group. Now, this happened a day or so ago. Eight men from Tajikistan. I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. Tajikistan nationals now are in custody, and they had been released after coming into the United States after being processed like millions of others. But apparently, what happened is they were busted by ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement. They've been working together with the FBI, Joint Terrorism Task Force, in 3 major cities. Now, they were busted in New York City, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. What were they doing in those 3 cities? It's a good question. They won't say here, of course, but they were just busted there. They were arrested there. 8 nationals linked to ISIS, y'all. It's the worst terrorism group you can imagine. That leads me to ask, begs the question, you just arrested 8. How many more are in here? We know they're coming in from all around the world, y'all. Asia, Middle East, Europe, South America, everywhere. The FBI director has been warning, he's been warning of a jihadist attack similar to what we saw, I think it was like a month or so ago in Russia, that concert hall attack where they shot up that place. That was terrible. But, and then it was quoted, a New York City councilman was quoted as, "We are heading for another 9/11. We have to know who's coming across our border, but we don't. Be watchful in your communities. Let law enforcement know if you see something suspicious." We should be doing that. We should be vigilant at all times, not just now. But millions are crossing, and have been crossing over. It's debatable the number. I mean, we know it's in the millions. And this is just 8 of them. How many others are out there making plans, carry out, just waiting for a signal? I've also heard other people warn that it could be a 9/11 type attack times 25 or 100, just all across the nation. They've had plenty of time to plan it. Be aware in your communities, definitely, especially in the large cities, even in your smaller cities, be aware. Even in a small town. In a smaller town, you kind of know people, or in your neighborhood, you kind of know when somebody's coming through that you're not familiar with. Just keep an eye on them. All right. I know right here we're watchful. Try to be watchful. Set up even an informal kind of watch system to where you kind of know who's coming and going. Okay. We cannot rely on the government. That's even local government. I know different local governments are better than others at this kind of stuff, in the counties and all that. But we have to be our own watchmen. We really do. We have to be. It's going to be up to citizens to save us, too. That and the Lord God Almighty, right? I know it. Large events, large gatherings, sporting events. I always worry about these big sporting events where, you got packed in thousands of people watching a ball game. What a target. What a target. I know the security's pretty tight on those. I mean, when you come in, they look at everything and search everything, but still, these large concerts, these outdoor venue things. We're in the warm weather now. There's large gatherings going on all over the place. Okay? So let's just be hyper aware. Not to the point where we're obsessed and worried and scared to go out, but just be watchful. All right? The governor of Nevada, Joe Lombardo, he has a warning for the president. He says failure to rein in the national inflation could cost him the election. Well, duh. Voters in our state of Nevada find the current economy, quote unquote, unsustainable. Well, we do too. I mean, who doesn't right now? I guess some don't. He said food, fuel, energy, housing, unemployment, all unsustainable right now. So he's hearing from his citizens in Nevada. He also cited voters, specifically voters under the age of 30 and Hispanic population suffering punishingly high inflation and inability to afford housing. I think that's across the board. Yes, it's slamming our younger generation, preventing them from buying a home or maybe ever buying a home. Heck, they can't even rent something without cobbling together like a bunch of people together, maybe try to afford it. Live with parents, live with family. I used to kind of look down on that where grown adults have to live with family, but maybe I should never have looked down on that. Not that I really look down on it, but I would kind of like, you get out on your own. That's my generation talking. However, nowadays, I totally understand it. I would encourage it if you can. Now, if you have that independent spirit, if you're a young person watching this right now and I don't want to live with my parents, I want to be on my own. That's the way I was when I was 18. After high school, went to college, I was on my own. So never look back. When I'm come back to visit, of course. But if you have that spirit, hey, there's nothing wrong with living with family / parents. Do it as long as you can. Get on your feet. Save money. It just makes sense, especially nowadays, the way things are going, and I think that's probably the wave of the future as well. All right, I'm going to go to a passage here. Share your thoughts on this, but personally, I think the terrorism threat, the border issue, to me is more of an urgent national security issue right now than some ships parked in Cuba from Russia. I did find it amusing. I saw a little clip that said that some I don't know what cruise line it was, but a cruise liner was on its way from Florida down to the Bahamas, and they saw several of the Russian ships. That's how close they are to the coast. They said, said something like, cruise passengers horrified to see Russian ships right there in proximity to them, and it was more than one ship. It was several of them. They could tell, they could see. Can you imagine just kind of chilling out on the deck, like, with your significant other, trying to get some sun on the deck of the cruise ship. It's all cool. We're having a nice trip here. That's Teddy and Ella. And all of a sudden, a Russian warship kind of pulls up kind of close to you. How about that? Oh, it's not the American flag flying on that. Things have changed. Yeah, it's not ours. Get used to it. Anyway, all right. I joke about it, but it's really kind of weird. I know. All right, I'm going to the passage. It is Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Amen. Christ has called on us to be his hands and feet, to carry one another's burdens, to care for each other, to support each other, encourage each other, especially in great time of need, grief, hard times. Try to be that to others because you would want it done for you. And it comes back. It does come back on you when you do that, when you reach out to support somebody. And you don't even have to have any magic words or anything like that. Even just being present, or a phone call, or just be supportive, or message. Keep encouraging them. You would want it done for you. And most of the time it will be done, and it probably has been done for you. So let's keep that in mind. We are called to do that as well. So if you have the opportunity, definitely do it. Don't shy away from it because you're uncomfortable and you're like, I don't know what to say to comfort them. You ain't got to say much. Just be there. Just say, hey, I'm here for you. Call me, love you, support you. I'm with you. I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you in prayer. All right. Prayer is huge. All right. Makes a huge difference. Share your thoughts. Let's be very aware out there. Be careful. Be safe. Stay close to Jesus. God bless you. I'll see you soon.